A woman in Los Angeles woke up in a hospital bed after her electric scooter hit 26 miles an hour going downhill. The manufacturer's listing for her specific model said it maxed out at 18. Every electric scooter sold today contains a lie. Deep in the firmware is a digital ceiling, a specific number that suppresses the machine's physical capabilities to meet a predetermined legal limit. Take the ubiquitous Xiaomi scooter line. Out of the box, it weighs 26 pounds and folds down small enough to carry onto a train. Under the hood sits a 500-watt motor that could push the vehicle well past 20 miles an hour, but it doesn't. When you buy one, the speed is capped at 15. This restriction is an artificial ceiling decided in a product meeting to minimize legal exposure. Electric scooters exist in a strange gap in global transit law. They are too fast to be toys, but too small to be motorcycles. As a result, speed regulations vary wildly by country and sometimes change block by block within a single city. In Germany, the legal speed limit is 20 kilometers per hour. Cross a border into France, and the allowance bumps up to 25. For manufacturers selling hardware into dozens of overlapping jurisdictions, designing a custom motor for every region is entirely impractical. Instead, they build one powerful machine and use software to throttle it down for the most restrictive markets. The speed limiter is a legal liability strategy wearing an engineering costume. Around 2019, a community of engineers noticed this gap. They began reverse engineering the Bluetooth protocols that these scooters use to communicate with their official apps. Bypassing the limiter requires no hardware changes. A user simply opens a third-party app and flips a stored digital value. That change tells the internal controller to stop restricting the motor's power draw. Word of this trick spread quickly among delivery drivers. Navigating tight windows to earn a living, an artificial 15-mile-an-hour cap costs a rider real money. These riders argue that capping a scooter below the flow of urban bicycle traffic makes them less safe, forcing them to weave unpredictably or get squeezed by faster, impatient vehicles. What began as a curiosity project for a handful of engineers now supports a global network of dedicated forums, custom firmware repositories, and technical support groups. This community exists in the friction between rider autonomy and manufacturer control. But the physical reality of this override is unforgiving. You flip a switch in the software, and a machine built for casual speeds suddenly hits 30 miles an hour. The motor can handle it, but the rest of the machine cannot. The brakes were calibrated strictly to provide 15 miles an hour of stopping force. The tires are small and hard. They were never pressure tested for the intense road vibration that comes with doubling your velocity. The frame geometry, stable at a jogging pace, becomes a high-speed liability when riding on a skateboard's wheelbase at the speed of city traffic. This chart shows how braking distance reacts to velocity. Braking distance scales with the square of speed. Double your speed from 15 to 30, and you need 4 times the stopping distance. A scooter halting within 1 car length suddenly requires a small parking lot. The firmware limiter acts like a rated weight limit on a rope. The hardware will hold more than its rating, right up until the moment it unpredictably fails. Emergency room data flags speed as one of the clearest predictors of injury severity. ER see a recurring pattern from unlocked scooters, severe head and facial trauma, and wrist fractures from instinctive bracing. The financial risks are just as severe. Insurance companies now actively investigate crashes for tampered firmware. Finding a bypassed speed limiter can void a rider's coverage entirely. Manufacturers are fighting back with software updates designed to detect tampering and explicitly writing speed modification into their warranty denial terms. It's a cycle of futility. Modders reliably find new backdoors within weeks of every single patch. This cat-and-mouse game leaves the rider exposed to both physical injury and total financial ruin. Consider how car manufacturers handle safety. They rely on physical protective engineering, crumple zones and airbags, and then trust the driver to handle the machine's autonomy. The scooter industry chose a different path, substituting physical protections for a digital software leash, a strategy that prioritizes corporate indemnity over rider survival. True safety for micromobility requires physical solutions, better standard brakes, wider wheelbases, and dedicated infrastructure so riders aren't sharing sidewalks with pedestrians. The artificial drag you feel at 15 miles an hour is the exact spot where an entire industry decided it was cheaper to limit the machine via code than to engineer one capable of handling its own power.